Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing well. So today I'm going to go around the garden and I'm going to show you how I deadhead my Oriental as well as my Asiatic lilies. So the way I deadhead my Oriental and Asiatic lilies, it's that I go in right after it finishes blooming and I just snap off the seed head. That way I leave all the foliage as well as the stem behind and let it continue to soak in the energy to feed the bulbs so that it can continue to divide and make more bulbs so that I could divide and give them away to friends and family. So here at the front garden, I have an example of the Asiatic lilies that I did not deadhead right away. And look at what has happened to the seed heads. So it is starting to grow and form seed heads. So I should have done this much sooner when the seed heads kind of look like that. So the plant has spent so much energy to form these seed heads, and these seed heads are actually not viable and you can't really plant them from seeds, or at least in my experience I haven't been able to. So I'm gonna go ahead and deadhead all of these like I just showed you with the other Oriental lilies and just snap off the seed heads like that. So again, leave behind the leaf, the foliage, and the stalk so that they can continue to feed the bulbs below. So I'm gonna set my camera up and go through all of that with you. So just the other day, I went to the garden nursery and I found a little lime punch, and I'm so excited about planting this plant because I looked up on the Proven Winners website and it's got the most gorgeous punch color in the fall, and it doesn't come with the tag, so I'm going to put the stats on the screen for you. However, there is only one drawback about this hydrangea, is that it is sort of a later bloomer, so I hope it doesn't bloom as late as what the website says. So I'm hoping that it will bloom a little bit earlier, but you know what, we'll be able to tell. But the color in fall is just so stunning that I had to take one home. I've got a container there that's currently occupied by the bush beans. The container is a double-walled self-watering container that's about 15 inches. So I'm going to prep the soil with a little bit of used coffee ground and plant the little lime punch in that space. And again, I probably not going to give it any fertilizer because I don't want it to put out new growth right now, because the tender new growth will probably not winterize properly in the container. Lastly, I'm going to show you the update on the Firelight Tidbit that I recently planted back in May, as well as give you an update on the Zinfin hydrangea that some of you was asking for an update for the 2021 season. So here is the Zinfin hydrangea that some of you have been asking for. Now the plant is about, I would say, 3.5 feet tall and 2.5 feet wide. And just to kind of remind you that this is its second year in this space, so it is a fairly young plant. And because the plant is fairly young, the stems are somewhat weak. So therefore, as this plant matures, the stems should get stronger and the panicles will be less floppy. And looking at the panicles right now, you can see that it's got a hint of pink, which I think will eventually turn that deep, deep bright red burgundy that you'll see in fall. So I think overall, this is actually a quite gorgeous hydrangea as well. So here's a Firelight Tidbit hydrangea that was just planted this past June. Now, as you can see, the plant is still sort of small relative to the bulb right next to it on the left side. So let me just push back all the surrounding plants so that you can see the entire Firelight Tidbit plant right now. So you can kind of see it's a fairly small plant. I would say it's about, 18 inches tall and 18 inches wide. And I think the tag says it's supposed to grow to about 2 to 3 feet tall, I think. So I think, considered how small and undeveloped the root ball was when I planted it back in May, I'm actually quite surprised that it is actually putting out blooms right now. So I think, usually plants that are recently planted, their main focus is trying to get rooted in. But, looking at this now, I'm happily surprised that I'm actually seeing blooms. And I'm glad because, I was kind of looking forward to see how the blooms would look like, and I cannot wait to see how this is going to look like the next year and the year after once it has some time to mature in the garden. And because it was planted so late in the season after all the surrounding plants have sort of grown up, I think this one is a bit shaded because of all the plants around it is sort of bigger. So it's harder for it to compete for space and nutrients. The Firelight Tidbit, compared to the bulb hydrangeas, I think it is a little bit later in terms of the blooming time. But again, with any new plant that's recently been planted, I think it's very difficult to judge its blooming time right now. So next year, I'm probably gonna get a better idea of its sort of appropriate blooming time in our garden zone. Now, if you take a look at the blooms on the Firelight Tidbit, you can see that the blooms are a bit more of a round bun shape, unlike the bulb hydrangeas where they're a bit more conical in shape. And I think I've got one, that one is blooming right here. I've got another one here that's still in the chartreuse green stage, and another one here as well. And I've got tons more that are about to form as well. So it looks like they're pretty good in terms of forming blooms. But again, blooming time's a little late for this year because it's newly planted. But I think the panicles are gorgeous. I can't wait to see it mature in the garden next year. So here's my little lime punch all potted up in this pot, and the alyssum is looking a little bit sad right now. I actually didn't water it because I knew I was gonna take it apart, and that's why they're looking so sad. But anyway, I will keep a closer eye on the alyssum, and if they don't get better, I will probably pull them out and plant them with something else because it is late in the season and I don't think I want to plant anything up unless I really have to. So here's the last look at the Firelight Tidbit, and as you can see, looking at it next to the bulb, it looks rather small right now, right? So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I want to say thank you so much for watching the video, and you have yourself a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.